There was a time when I feared death. Now I fear something worse, being forgotten, dying alone, drifting in a void where no one will ever know what became of me. No history, no legacy, just nothing. That thought used to terrify me. Now it feels inevitable. The malfunction happened fast. One moment, the ship hummed with the quiet assurance of FTL travel, smooth and predictable. The next, alarms screamed as space twisted around me, dragging me out of hyperspace and slamming me into a dead sector of the universe. I tried everything. Rebooting, rerouting, power cycling the FTL drive. But the screens only gave me the same answer in bold, unrelenting red. System failure. I spent days tearing apart the systems, hunting for anything salvageable. If I could reroute energy, reinitialize the drive, nothing. The ship was dead in the water. When I pulled up the star charts, my stomach turned to ice. I had no idea where I was. No familiar constellations, no beacons, no signals. Just blackness. Endless, oppressive blackness, stretching in every direction. My distress signal was sent within the first hour. I knew it was useless. Even at light speed, a signal from this deep in uncharted space wouldn't reach the nearest human outpost for centuries. There was no cavalry coming. I was alone. Truly, utterly alone. Days turned to weeks. I rationed everything. Water, oxygen, my movements, my thoughts. Every decision mattered now, even something as small as breathing too fast. I spent hours trying to find a solution, mapping the sky like an ancient sailor lost at sea, but it only confirmed the same crushing truth. I was nowhere. I spoke aloud just to hear something. At first, I tried to make jokes. Maybe I'm in the afterlife. Maybe I actually died in that malfunction, and this is what hell looks like. But the silence never laughed back. The ship had never felt so small. Every time I turned my head, the same walls stared back at me, cold and lifeless. My bunk, my console, my half-empty water rations. I started sleeping more. Not because I was tired, but because being awake was unbearable. The seconds stretched into hours, stretched into eternity. My logs became less technical, more personal. If someone ever finds this ship, at least they'll know I existed. 2 weeks in, I started seeing things. Flickers of movement just outside my field of vision. Shadows that weren't supposed to be there. The ship creaking when it shouldn't. My mind playing tricks, trying to fill the void with something, anything. I caught myself whispering prayers. To what? I didn't know. Just to something. Someone. Maybe there was a god out there, floating in the spaces between galaxies, listening. Maybe it was listening to me. By the 3rd week, my body had begun to fail. My limbs felt heavy. My head throbbed constantly. The human body wasn't meant to endure this kind of solitude. The food was gone. Water was down to a few final sips. Oxygen dash. 4 days left. I stared at the number on my display for hours. I don't know why. Maybe I was waiting for it to change, waiting for a miracle. But the universe is cold. Indifferent. No miracles were coming. That night I made peace with it. I left a final log. A simple message. To whoever finds this, I was here. Then I laid down in my bunk, closed my eyes, and waited. The sound came in the middle of the night cycle. A faint crackle. Barely there, almost imaginary. I didn't move. I thought I was dreaming, hallucinating. Then it came again. A slow, rhythmic pulse. Not static. Not interference. A signal. My breath caught. I sat up so fast my vision swam, my body weak from starvation. I blinked at the console, waiting for the hallucination to fade. But the pulse remained. Steady, patient. With shaking hands, I adjusted the receiver, trying to lock onto it. It was faint, so faint that my systems barely registered it. But it was there. I wasn't alone. Something had found me. The signal remained steady, a slow, rhythmic pulse. Not random, not static. Intentional. I stared at the waveform on my screen, half expecting it to disappear. A hallucination brought on by hunger and exhaustion. It didn't. My fingers trembled as I adjusted the receiver, fine-tuning the frequency. My heart pounded in my chest, the weight of isolation momentarily lifted by something, someone, out there. I swallowed dryly and opened a channel. This is cargo ship Solace, calling on all available frequencies. Please respond. Silence. I tried again. If anyone can hear me, my ship has suffered catastrophic failure. I require assistance. Please respond. For a moment, nothing. Then, a sound. Not static, not distortion. A voice. I flinched, every nerve in my body tensing. It wasn't coming through the speakers. It wasn't electronic. It was inside my head. You are not alone. The voice was calm, measured, neither male nor female, but something deeper, something vast. I gasped, pushing back from the console so hard I nearly tripped over my own feet. My breath came in ragged gasps, my chest tightening. Hallucination. This is a hallucination. I squeezed my eyes shut, pressing my palms to my temples. The weeks of solitude, the starvation. It was finally happening. But then, it spoke again. I have been waiting. I forced myself to open my eyes. My hands were shaking, my vision blurred from dehydration, but I could still feel it. The presence wasn't just in my mind, it was around me. A vast intelligence, patient and ancient. I swallowed hard. Who are you? A pause. Then, like you, I am lost. My throat tightened. The fear should have been overwhelming, but it wasn't. Not entirely. The voice carried no malice, no threat, only understanding. My ship creaked in the silence that followed. The weight of the void pressed down on me again, suffocating, vast. But I wasn't alone anymore. I exhaled, steadying myself, my voice barely above a whisper. Where are you? Another pause, longer this time. Then, with a quiet certainty, it replied, Near, near. That was all it had said. Not a direction, not a location, just near. I forced myself to take slow, steady breaths. My heart was hammering against my ribs, but I willed myself to focus. The voice was still there, lingering in the space around me like an unseen presence. What do you mean? Near. My voice cracked from dehydration and exhaustion, but I needed to know. A long pause. Then, I see you. I turned sharply toward the viewport, staring out into the abyss. Nothing but the empty void. Stars distant and unmoving. A crushing silence all around me. Where? I demanded. Close. I clenched my fists. It wasn't answering in any way that made sense. Every word was deliberate, careful, measured. I tried to push down the unease twisting in my gut. I had no weapons, no means of defense. Even if I did, what exactly would I be defending myself against? A thought entered my mind, one I didn't like. What if it was inside the ship? I turned in place, scanning the small cabin, the cockpit lights dimming with the failing power reserves. Nothing. no movement, no sign of anything new, but I felt it, a presence. "I am not there," the voice said, as if reading my thoughts, "but I am with you." I swallowed hard. My throat was painfully dry. "How are you speaking to me? Are you using my comms?" Another long silence. Then, "No." I shivered. I had suspected as much. The voice wasn't coming through the speakers. It was in my head. Was this some kind of telepathic entity? Was I even really hearing it? Or was it something else? I sat down, my limbs weak, my breath uneven. "What do you want?" The voice didn't answer immediately. Then finally, "To understand." The word sent a chill through me. Not a demand, not a threat. Just a simple, quiet statement. But something about it made my skin crawl. I forced my mind to stay sharp. If this thing was real, if it truly existed, I needed to know what it was, where it came from, and why it had been waiting. I swallowed. "What are you?" A long pause, the longest yet. For a moment I thought it wouldn't answer. Then, softly, almost regretfully, "I do not remember. I didn't sleep. Not really. How could I?" Even after the entity had gone silent, its presence lingered in my mind, a weight that couldn't be shaken. The moment I closed my eyes, I heard its words echoing inside my skull. "Like you, I am lost." The ship was colder now, or maybe that was just me. The last remnants of food had long been consumed, and my water ration was down to its final sips. Oxygen remained, 3 days left. A countdown I couldn't escape. I spent the next few hours, or was it longer, staring at the viewport. There was nothing but endless black, an abyss stretching in every direction. I'd never felt smaller. Then, the voice returned. "You do not ask where I am." I shuddered but didn't flinch this time. My body was too exhausted, too resigned. Instead, I simply exhaled, watching the frost bloom on the glass of the viewport. "I figured if you wanted me to know, you'd tell me." A pause. Then, "You are near." I frowned. "What does that mean?" "Look." I hesitated, then adjusted my viewport, shifting angles, realigning the external sensors. At first, there was only black, more empty, endless black. Then something moved. A massive shape, barely visible, obscured against the void itself. It was not a planet, not a station, not a ship. It was something else entirely. My blood ran cold. Jesus Christ. It wasn't symmetrical. It wasn't structured like anything human-made. It looked like an asteroid, but not quite. A jagged, floating mass of impossible geometry, blacker than space, absorbing all light, its surface shifting like it wasn't completely solid. My hands trembled as I checked my sensors. No readings, no electromagnetic activity, as if it didn't exist at all. The voice remained steady. "I have been here for a long time." A lump formed in my throat. "How long?" A pause. Then, almost hesitant, "I do not know." I swallowed hard. It was stranded here. Just like me. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. "Is that where you are?" "Yes." I pressed my lips together. My ship's power reserves were running dangerously low. If I wanted to move closer, I'd be burning what little I had left. But what other option was there? I checked my oxygen levels again. 2.5 days. With nothing left to lose, I reached for the thrusters, and I began my approach. The thrusters whined as I approached the massive, jagged structure. Every instinct screamed at me to turn back, but logic told me otherwise. I had no other choice. The ship shuddered as I drifted closer. It loomed before me, a dark monolith against the void, formless yet present. My senses still refused to register it, as if it didn't belong to reality at all. I swallowed hard. Then the voice came again. You hesitate. I exhaled sharply, gripping the control panel. Yeah. Can you blame me? Fear is rational, but it is not necessary. I huffed a humorless laugh. That's easy for you to say. You're not the one about to dock with... I glanced at the shifting, unreadable mass. Whatever the hell this is. It is my home, my prison. I swallowed, letting that sink in. Prison. You were trapped here? A long pause. Then, I was left here. Something about the way it said it chilled me more than the void outside. Not an accident, not a mistake. Left. I took a steadying breath. Who left you? Another pause. Then soft, almost reverent. My kind. A shiver ran down my spine. I wasn't sure if it was the way the words lingered, or the vast loneliness behind them. The silence stretched between us, and I realized something unsettling. I pitied it. I exhaled, my voice quieter this time. You've been here a long time, haven't you? Yes. I closed my eyes. Time meant nothing in the void, and somehow I knew that whatever duration it had endured, it had been beyond comprehension. The ship lurched slightly as I adjusted my course, bringing me closer. If I dock, will I be safe? The voice answered immediately. Yes. I wasn't sure if I believed it, but at this point, I wasn't sure I cared. With a final push, I activated the landing thrusters. The ship descended toward the abyss. The airlock cycled with a quiet hiss. A final separation between what I had always known and what lay beyond. I took a breath. One of the last real breaths I would ever take. The doors slid open, revealing not darkness, not an abyss, but light. Warmth touched my skin. A soft breeze carried the scent of something familiar. Earth after the rain, wildflowers on a distant meadow. The transition was so seamless that my brain struggled to process it. The cold, sterile metal of my ship was gone. I stood on solid ground, damp with morning dew, beneath a sky so blue it hurt to look at. I turned slowly, the weight of my own body feeling different, lighter somehow. This place, it was real. Or at least it wanted to be. A voice broke the silence. I thought this form would make you comfortable. I froze. A figure stood a few feet away, framed by the rolling hills. She looked exactly like my wife. My breath caught in my throat. The same eyes, the same posture, the same quiet intensity behind every subtle movement. My mind recoiled. I clenched my fists, stepping back instinctively. What is this? She or it watched me with a soft expression, the wind catching her hair as if she truly belonged in this world. She wasn't supposed to be here. My wife was gone. I wanted you to feel at ease. My stomach twisted. It had chosen her on purpose. Anger flared before I could stop it. You're not her. A small, knowing nod. No, but she is part of you. She is who you long for. I swallowed, my throat dry. That doesn't make it right. She tilted her head, studying me as if analyzing my reaction, before shifting slightly. Her face softened, became less precise. Still human, but blurred, undefined. Does this make it easier? I blinked. It was unsettling how effortlessly she could change, as if identity itself was just a suggestion. I forced myself to breathe. My pulse still pounded in my ears, but the raw, gut-wrenching pain had begun to fade. I wasn't sure if it was because of the change, or because I had started to accept it. I exhaled shakily. "No, it's okay." A pause. Then she nodded again. We stood in silence for a long moment. Then finally I spoke. "What is this place?" "A sanctuary." I turned away, taking in the view, the vastness of the sky, the glimmering lake in the distance. It was impossibly beautiful, but more than that, it felt familiar, like an echo of something I had lost. I swallowed hard. "Why did you make this?" She stepped beside me, her presence close but not intrusive. "I did not make it. I shaped it. It is a memory of what was and what can be." I furrowed my brow, turning to her. "Whose memory?" "Yours." Something inside me clenched. I looked at the ground, my breath unsteady. "So this isn't real?" She shook her head. "It is real, but it does not belong to the world you left behind." I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to keep my mind from spiraling. I had spent weeks fighting for survival, clinging to the only reality I had ever known. But now, that reality had let me go, and this one was waiting to take its place. She sat down on the grass, motioning toward the horizon. "Come." I hesitated, then slowly lowered myself beside her. The world stretched before us, endless and still. "You made all this?" I asked softly. She shook her head. "I shaped it from what lingers in you." I studied her, watching the way her gaze never wavered, the way she existed here so effortlessly. "And you? Who are you, really?" She was silent for a long moment. Then, finally, she spoke. "I am alone." I felt the weight in those words. A loneliness deeper than mine, stretching across incomprehensible time. The wind carried the scent of the lake, and I found myself staring at the horizon, my breathing steadying, my thoughts quieter than they had been in weeks. For the first time, I wasn't sure if I was afraid anymore. The wind moved softly over the hills, carrying the scent of water and the warmth of a sun that wasn't real. I let my fingers drift through the grass beside me, feeling the weight of each blade against my skin. It felt real. But reality had stopped mattering. She sat beside me, the entity, the stranger, the thing that had assumed her face. My wife's face, but not her. Not really. I had stopped recoiling from the sight of her. The unease had settled into something quieter, something softer. It wasn't her, but it wasn't trying to deceive me either. She told me the truth. That was more than I could say for the universe that had abandoned me in the dark. "You're at peace here." The words weren't a demand, not even a suggestion, just an observation, and it was right. I exhaled slowly, watching the lake in the distance ripple without wind. I don't even know how long I've been sitting here. Time has no weight here. You are free from it. I closed my eyes. The exhaustion, the hunger, the fear, they were distant now, nothing more than remnants of a world I had left behind. I had fought so hard to survive, to keep moving forward. But forward to what? I had no ship, no way back. If I left, I'd return to a metal coffin drifting in a silent void, my oxygen bleeding away, alone until the very end. I had already died. I opened my eyes again, staring at the horizon. "Why do you care?" I asked. "What do you get out of this?" She hesitated. It was the first time she had ever done so. "You are the first," she finally said. "The first I have spoken to in... I do not know." She turned to face me fully, and for the first time, I saw something else behind the perfect eyes. something I had been too lost to notice before. Loneliness. A silence stretched between us, but this one wasn't hollow. It was full, heavy. I swallowed. You've been waiting. I have been alone. The words sent a quiet shiver through me. There was no sadness in them, no grief, just truth, an eternity in the dark. For the first time, I wondered if it was offering me peace for my sake, or for its own. She shifted again, her features relaxing, as if the effort to mimic my past was no longer needed. She didn't need to look like my wife anymore. I looked back at the hills, the lake, the sky that never changed. The choice had already been made, hadn't it? I could die gasping in the void, or I could let go. I could stay. Will it feel like this forever? I asked. As long as you wish it to. I nodded slowly, feeling the weight of the answer settle over me like a warm embrace. For the first time in weeks, months, years, I felt warm. I turned to her, the entity, the companion, the last thing in the universe that knew I existed. Okay, I whispered. I'm staying. The wind carried my words into the endless sky, and the void whispered back, then you are home.